Hail Pandawans and journeymen walking that illustrated path. So here we are, as promised. This video is a sequel to an earlier video I did this year called Words as Weapons. Now, what you got to do first is you got to watch that other video first, because there are going to be tons of spoilers in this. It's going to ruin everything. No, I'm just kidding. But anyways, go out and watch it right now. All right, welcome back. Okay, this is just another video on the cool process on how you can create weapons and ships and all sorts of armor and things just by using and combining shapes and letters and all that. Now, as you know, orc weapons they're not dainty by any means. You know, they have rusty edges and little spiky bits and stuff that, I mean, even can hurt the person who's using these weapons. They're not created by master blacksmiths or anything. They're basically, blades and rusty bits of metal spot welded together or strapped together. But you can sit there and orcs are very easy to do this with because they don't have to be very fancy. You can just, rough out some crude shapes. Like even the word axe, I just made by stapling some weapons together. And now, what was that old, Pimp My Ride or whatever? It's like, I hear you like axes, so I'm going to make you an axe out of the word axe. But yeah, so the basic idea is you can take shapes of almost anything and kind of combine them together to get a rough idea of, say, for example, weapons or spaceships, cars, armor, shoulder pads always being the coolest. But it's a fun way to just sort of get you some ideas down if you're having, a tough time coming up with stuff, which as the Pandawans, of course you do not. You're ready to rock 24/7. So you never sit down in front of a blank page and have nothing to draw, right? Well, if you do, we're going to do another video on that later. So this process here, I mentioned it in my other video, which because you have just watched it. Whenever I would have, like, say, a girlfriend or something, I would take their name and I would write it in various things. You could do it in twisty vines and all that. Well, my favorite was always taking the letters and just making these kind of crude weapons out of them. So there's the word orcs, and each individual one, of course, is a weapon. Like, I think they all look like they would be very difficult to maybe wield. Maybe the little short-handled R, or the circle one might be okay. But yeah, letter C, you're going to spike your fingers, and the letter S, you're going to be slicing your wrists while you're slicing into someone else. Yeah, but they're made to be Oh, there goes the boy. What's happening, son? And just like that, he's gone. Drive by. Yeah, but so this was always, I remember going to this is back in the old days when they had things called shopping malls. And, all the stores would be around. You have your B. Dalton bookstore, your Radio Shack, the height of technology there. But there would be these like artists that sat in the sort of the middle of the mall type areas. And a lot of them would have hundreds of names, and the names were written like, oh, here's someone's name, but it's all like waves and nautical themes and stuff like that. So I don't think I came up with this. I probably ripped it off from those artists, slinging paint and paintbrush in the mall. But I adapted it to modern times. Well, modern times being back in the 80s. Yeah. So this is always really fun for me to do, kind of a trip down, memory lane, I guess. But what I'd like to do is, so obviously, this is Orctober, and, this month, I think most of my images and videos are going to be, dedicated to those grim, green, gruesome, toothsome brutes. But this kind of technique, this style that I'm doing here could also be translated pretty cool into some of the other cool races, like dwarves and stuff like that. Can you imagine like what dwarven, like if you were to put dwarf, like what some of those, weapons would be? Dwarves are always, big, hammers and axes and things like that. Could even do elves, elves. And, their weapons are all going to be probably more balanced and refined and more maybe used for piercing than slashing or cudgeling or things like that. So if you like, down in the comments, let me know which one should be the next one. I still might even do it for Orctober too, just to mix it up a little bit, because not everyone loves orcs as much as I do. So we'll do dwarves then. But yeah, let me know which ones you think would be cool to do next, or if you have some other ideas too, that could be fun. So now I'm just basically noodling. I got the words down, and I've been kind of playing around. Like you can see me kind of going like, in the menus, like undecided. It's like, well, I got a couple like newer brushes that I found that have some kind of rough pencil technique kind of stuff, or like I think one of them is called like broken or destroyed ink brush, and I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. Let's see what it is. And basically, it's just a scratchy looking brush that you can use. I started sketching with it on the previous video, if you saw that, when I was doing the orcs, just the collage orc faces. But it's kind of nice because while I still love doing pencil and paper and pen drawings, and you can see some of those on Twitter. I post those up there too. And I think I did one on the community posts on ABC with Samwise YouTube site there, so you can check it out there. But I kind of like having that element too. It just, even when I'm drawing digitally, it makes it feel like there's still that little element of traditional drawing with it. And that's one thing too, like, a lot of artists, and I'm guilty of this too. I work purely digital most of the time now. And the only times that I'm doing pencil artwork is when I'm like in transit somewhere, like if I'm on a plane, or if I'm on like a weekend away or something. I'll just bring my 3 or 4 different sketchbooks, notebooks, and stuff like that. One of them is for writing down notes for stories and, art ideas. One of them is, just for if I feel like sitting down for, the collected hours on that, that weekend away or whatever, and just like, pushing all kinds of like graphite and lead and all that into the paper and making a big image. So I have 3 or 4 different notebooks. That could be a cool video too, just going through some of those and just looking at some of the things that either came out or are still like, dreams trapped within the paper. But as we know, we don't have dreams here. We have quests, we have goals. Dreams are only attained while you're sleeping. And we shouldn't be sleeping, because that way we can't create art if we're asleep. So here we go, just some rough colors. A lot of these videos are just really quick ones. They're not meant to be super polished or show technique. A lot of those I'll go through on some of my step-by-step videos and things like that. But these ones are just, try to crank something out for the day. And again, not everything has to be forever or archival, but you get that little creative energy out, and you can sit there at the end of the day and go, yeah, did I do a picture today? Damn right I did. I made words as weapons with, 4 completely unwieldable weapons. For humans, that is. Orcs, no problem. Those are like, that's got the toe knife there and the toothpick and the eyebrow trimmer, because everyone seems to really like orcs with eyebrows, I've noticed in the comments. All right, and also, I've loved that you guys have been doing Orctober pictures too, so keep sending those. You can send them to Twitter or Instagram, whatever. But yeah, that's it. We're going to probably be wrapping this thing up soon. Remember to keep flexing those fingers and pushing those pencils and pens and pixels and polygons. Orctober demands tributes. And you, Pandawans, will bring the thunder and heed the call. So as we finish up this image, thanks for watching, and look forward to more orky goodness for Orctober. And I'll probably have a couple extra ones too, where I can take a break from the green and gruesome and go to the bearded and the brawlers or something like that for my dwarves. All right, Pandawans. Well, that is it, and we will wrap it up here. ABC, Pandawans. Always be creating. Hail. Orctober!